Hello team, and welcome to another Open Tech Alliance technology training. Today we're going to do a little bit of Excel training, some pivot tables. Today specifically we're going to be working on pivoting data from a new call classification report. We had a request from a client that wanted to see the total amount of talk time by facility, by month, and this is how we're going to accomplish that. So I went into our SSRS reporting, into live reports, into internal storage counselors, and a call classification by facility and counselor report. I put the date range in which I want the data exported. I chose the account and all of their facilities in this particular case, and I ran the report, and these were the results. I'm going to go ahead and export those in Excel. This should just take a second. And then we'll manipulate the data to quickly and easily provide a visual for the clients. Let me open this. So the first thing I do anytime I'm manipulating data in Excel is I go ahead and I save it somewhere, right? So let's save as, and make sure, what is it? It's in my document library, so that's fine with me. And we'll leave that here. Put the name of the customer in the bottom and hit save. Okay. So we have our data. Let's see how much data, how many calls we've taken roughly since January. Over 16,000 calls for Devin. Let's scroll up to the top here. If we're going to manipulate data, we don't need all of this extra stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and delete columns 1 and 2. Rows 1 and 2. Because they don't really serve a purpose. I hit insert instead of delete. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And there we go. I really just want the raw data. I want the headers and the data. Okay? Kind of get in the habit of doing a quick save. So the next thing I want to do now is I want to actually capture all of the data that I'm going to manipulate. So a lot of people drag and drop, and they're doing this, and they're taking forever. What's really nice about most Microsoft products is that on the right-hand side, you've got a bar. So you can slide up and down, you can go home, you can go to the end, but I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm just going to click on the data set, the cell in the lower right-hand corner, and then all I have to do is move up to the very top, and I hit Shift on my keyboard, and I click A1 with the mouse, and it captures all the data. Really easy, fast, instead of, all the scrolling we do all the time. And I am going to go to the top, select Insert, and we're going to insert a pivot table. And then this little screen is going to pop up. So what's this screen telling me? Number one, where is the data set that I want to pivot? So I had already highlighted it, so it pre-populated A1 through H15999. Okay? So that's correct, we know already. I could come to this first and then go select the data, but it's easier to select the data first. And then we have two options as to where we want to put the pivot table. So in this particular case, I'm going to select New Worksheet. If I wanted to put it on the same worksheet as the data, I would click here, and then I would select a cell in which to put the pivot table. Okay? But in this particular case, we're going to create a new worksheet, and I'm going to hit OK. So as you can see in the lower left-hand corner, it created a separate sheet. And I'm going to rename this pivot. Okay? And this is a pivot table. So what does that mean? On the right-hand side, I have the columns of data from our original data set. So account, facility name, call data. Account, facility name, call data across the top here. So those will all show up in the pivot as options for you to summarize and categorize. Okay? So again, the client had asked for a number of amount of talk time by facility by month. So the first thing we want to do then is we want to have a list of facilities, don't we? So I'm going to go ahead and grab the facility name and drag it down into the rows. And you'll see all the facilities get listed here on the left-hand side. Really simple, really easy, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, what do we want across the top? Well, we want the amount of talk time by facility we have here. So what is my other axis? It would be by date. So we have a call date over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into my columns. Okay. Now, it may not always come out in months like it did here. Let me right click on this and click group. And you can see if you right click on any area, I can do days, months. I could just do months and it'll eliminate the little pluses here because underneath there, all of these have days, right? So let's click yes, and it's just going to give us the months, which is nice. So if the first time you drop it in, it says January 1, January 2, January 3, January 4, you just have to right click on it, hit group, and make sure you take off days, right? Because it's literally listing them out those days and change it to months or quarters or years, okay? So now we have a list of all of our facilities down the left-hand side, and we have the actual call date, the date that the call was made across the top in months. So what data did they actually want to see? Well, they wanted to see talk time. So what we want to do is take call talk time in seconds and put it in the value section. Okay? So basically this is an accumulation of all of the seconds of talk time for this particular facility in January. It's doing it for you. Okay? Now, I can do a couple of things here. If I go to the lower right hand corner and I click on the data set, I can go to value field settings, and you could see here I could just do a count. So this would be counting the number of calls instead of adding up the sum of all of the seconds. In this particular case we want sum. There's some other options that you've got there. Okay? Let's just clean this up a little bit by centering some of this stuff. So wonderful. How quick was that? We literally now have the number of seconds in talk time for this particular facility for the month of January 2021. Okay? Now, if seconds doesn't make sense for you and you want to manipulate this data further, this might be fine. Okay? But let me show you what else you can do here real quick. I can actually grab this pivot table and I can copy it, and I'm going to add another tab, and I'm going to only copy the values. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because I don't want all the underlying pivoted data to show up here. If I just hit copy paste, it would show up as the pivot table again. Okay? So why might I want to be doing this? I'm going to delete the grand total here also. Well, let's try something. Let me actually copy and paste the months over here. And let's create a little merge so we know that that is seconds. Okay? So, how do we convert seconds to minutes? Well, if we put equals that number divided by 60 and hit enter, that would give you the 77 minutes worth of talk time that we had for this facility in January. And I can just drag that over and it will bring all that information across. We really don't need decimal places. All right? Also, you'll notice that if you want to carry a formula over, we just dragged it across, or down, you can always double click on the little box in the lower right hand corner and watch what happens. There we go. Whoops. Hello, don't do that. Let's just grab all of this and pull it all the way down. Normally when you double click on it, it works, but not sure why it didn't. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have minutes. So what we've done now is we've given them a view into the amount of talk time that we've taken in each facility per month per their request. You can always pretty this information up, but that's enough for today. Thank you so much for watching our training video. I hope it was valuable for you.